Hello and welcome once more to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amata. Today is the 13th of March. It is indeed, again, Friday the 13th, so do. But actually, we have some good news as we have the February NPD reports. And I'm going to be starting off with some good news from Nintendo, as portable console sales grew for them 153% year on year, pushing the entire hardware category up to 10% year on year. Now obviously, most of this is probably down to the new 3DS XL, as it did manage to sell 150,000 units in its first week of release, and in total 3DS hardware sales for the month of February reached nearly 400,000, which interestingly enough is actually higher than the PS4. Their software actually played a strong role as well, with two 3DS exclusives in the top 10 software chart. Moving on, however, to the console wars, for want of a better phrase, Sony was the first to chime in on the group report, and the PS4 was number one home console on both hardware and software in February, according to Sony. They unfortunately didn't divulge specifics, but even though they did end up beating the Xbox One for the month of February, Microsoft still had a strong month. And they did say that the Xbox One had record sales in February, and apparently they sold 84% more hardware than in January, so it looks like the gamble with the lower price point definitely paid off. New Gen is still selling very well, understandably so, and I have a little bit of a comment here from the NPD Group analyst Liam Callahan, and he said that the PS4 and Xbox One have, quote, outsold the PS3 and the Xbox 360 combined 15-month totals by close to 60% over the same period. Moving swiftly on to software though, as software sales were up 7% year on year, and most of that was probably down to the very strong software sales for the 3DS. Now, it's also worth considering that while the Order 1886 did chart, despite the fact that it had some disappointing reviews. So basically, even though it reviewed quite lowly, or at least had very mixed reviews, it did chart. Now, it was a pretty good week, or month should I say, sorry, for new releases, and of course we'll go through the software chart with you now. We have Majora's Mask 3D at number 1, Evolve at number 2, Dying Light at 3, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare at 4, GTA 5 at number 5, NBA 2K15 at 6, Dragon Ball Xenoverse at 7, Minecraft at 8, The Order 1886 at number 9, and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Finishing up, however, with general industry sales, as they were up total 8% year on year to $956 million. Hardware sales grew overall 10% year on year, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, it was mostly down to those 3DS sales that pushed the hardware category up. What's interesting though is that home console sales actually declined 5%, but this can be attributed to a 41% sales drop in last gen consoles, which is not exactly surprising. Software grew 7% year on year as mentioned, and new gen software sales increased 84% over February 2014, unsurprising as back at that time there were very few games, and that did manage to offset against the natural decline in last gen software sales. And I have a little bit of a statement here from Liam Callahan, who said, quote, "This is the first time since the launch of the PS4 and Xbox One that the top 10 console software SKUs were all from 8th generation consoles, a sign of consumers' further transition away from 7th generation consoles towards the new console generation." And as well as this, we have an accessory sales increase of 8% year on year, with a 34% spike in interactive gaming toys, so possibly down to the Amiibo, which has been very successful. So overall, a very strong month indeed, with Nintendo pretty much leading the pack as it beat both the PS4 and the Xbox One, with the PS4 coming in second and the Xbox One coming third. But as I said earlier, even though the PS4 did win, the Xbox One still is selling really, really well. It's just the PS4 sold better. So the competition is still hot between the two next generation consoles, and it's probably going to only get hotter as we move away from the dead period of the start of the year. We're actually going to see more games coming out now. Of course, we just had DMC Definitive Edition come out. We've got The Witcher 3 as well, due sometime soon, as well as a few other titles. So it's going to be an interesting next few months. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.